Hi, welcome to Personality Hacker. My name is Joel Mark Witt.
And I'm Antonia Dodge. And we're going to talk about the ISTP personality type in the Myers Briggs system, or in the Genius system, what we call accuracy sensation. Now we're not going to do a super deep dive into this type. We're just going to do a bit of a riff on some of our impressions of this type. And we actually have some really good friends and family members of this type, so we have a fondness for accuracy sensation people.
Yeah, I always think of the ISTP person, like this is the guy, if it's a guy, that I want during the zombie apocalypse.
Oh,
because
totally.
they just get it done, man. They're trackers in the woods. I mean, this is like a stereotype, obviously.
Right,
This isn't the ISTP personality type. This is just kind of how I envision it. Like I want them tracking and helping hunt and do all this stuff because they just have this knack for understanding this kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a sense of competence about them. I think in other systems or in other ways of looking at Myers Briggs, they're oftentimes called the mechanic.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they have this, they lead with accuracy. And accuracy is all about information and data that is divorced from the emotional component. And you can see how somebody who's accuracy, especially coupling it with sensation, which is the process that helps us understand how things are working in real time by using our senses, you could see how that would be a natural attraction to machinery. And that they would have this incredible ability to just understand how machines work. And I think that's oftentimes true. I think that even works when an ISTP is really interested in the human body as a machine. I know of ISTPs that are surgeons that usually when they go into medicine, they go into surgery, right? They're specifically surgeons because they see the body as all these interconnected machine parts. A lot of times they're pilots because they are just really amazing at understanding how they can connect to a very large piece of machinery and manipulate it in in a positive way, like flying a plane. They can be, there are race car drivers, there are best athletes. They are so good at understanding machines in general, and the body is one of them.
Yeah. And so this process accuracy that the ISTP leads with is complemented by a co-pilot process of sensation. And sensation is all about really being present in your body and feeling through the senses, not just the five senses, but senses of time, sense of space, sense of
temperature, balance,
exactly.
Those kinds of things.
And so as you're moving through in the sensation process, you're really balancing out that. And so like Antonia's talking about machinery, things that you can see and touch and verify and be a part of in real time, the ISTP has a knack for this. I always think of like I said, the zombie apocalypse, like shooting or snipering or anything that takes like marrying your sensations with this very specific, accurate way of looking at data. This is where the ISTP, I think, shows up in various ways. Now, we're using a lot of, hunting or these technical machinery terms, but I think it comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes as well.
Yeah, you see a lot of them as firefighters because they're great first responders.
Yeah.
You see a lot of them as, they can be in roles where they're helping people, but they're not usually caretakers. In fact, they usually hate caretaking. Like, they're not really good at sort of doing the day in and day out sort of nitty gritty of taking care of somebody, but they're excellent as first responders and making sure that they handle an emergency situation right away. They're fantastic at that. And they just have a toughness about them. Like every ISTP I've ever met, regardless of whether they're male or female, just has sort of this toughness and like this I can take care of myself attitude, which is really admirable.
Very independent streak.
Yeah, really independent. Now, if we're talking about the car model, if you've seen the car model, accuracy is the driver, and sensation is the co-pilot. If they get too much in that 10-year-old process, though, in the car model, and the 10-year-old is sort of the mirror opposite of the co-pilot, that means they're going to go to perspectives. And perspectives means that they're staying too much in their own head and not really vetting what they think is accurate and true, right? Because their driver process is deciding what's accurate information. If they go too much to the 10-year-old and just sort of use their own thoughts as their evidence, then they'll get too much inside inside their head, and they'll get a little paranoid, actually. That's usually how it shows up. The 10-year-old process of perspectives usually shows up as a bit of paranoia for the ISTP type. So it's really important that they stay in their co-pilot process of sensation, which is them getting out in the real world and asking themselves, okay, so this is the conclusion I've come to. This is what the data is telling me, and that this is what makes sense. What does the world tell me? When I go out and experience in real time, like what actually is happening in the real world, are my conclusions actually accurate, or are they just kind of making sense to me because I've been thinking about them a long time? So to make sure to get out of the sort of the head space and to get into your body space is really important for making sure that you bring your healthiest and best self forward. And this is, of course, where machines live. Machines actually live in the outside world. This is where race car driving lives, and piloting, and being in surgery, being a surgeon, like all the best talents that you bring to the world. And by the way, most of our Olympic athletes are people of this type, right? They just nail everything because they're so good at precision and their physical space, but only if they make sure to stay in that physical space. So getting into the sensation co-pilot is super important for this type to make sure that they are bringing their best self forward.
Yeah, and so if you're an ISTP, or you've taken the free assessment on our website, or you'd like to take it, go ahead and just do the little take this test button. And if you come out as an ISTP, or if you have come out as an ISTP, you kind of have a summary on the page you land on, but we really invite you to go into the premium content and get your full profile. Because what Antonia is talking about growing this co-pilot process, it's really powerful for you. And it's a great launching pad for you to start down a journey of not only growing that, but then getting even more accurate, getting even better at whatever you do in life, and kind of as a platform, a launching pad to grow yourself as a person and to, grow in other ways too, not just your personality.
Yeah, I think that higher satisfaction. I think a lot of times ISTPs don't really feel like they have a place in the world, or they always kind of struggle to figure out what their place is because they're so independent. Yeah. But really developing that sensation co-pilot is a part of how they find their place in the world and just kind of figure out where they're supposed to land and what they're supposed to be bringing to the world, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah. So I've got a question for you. What secret do you think about ISTPs that you don't think most people understand or know?
I think ISTPs are... They care about their reputation a lot more than people would think, because they have such an independent streak, and because they come across in sort of this really cold analytical way. And I don't mean like cold, like super, like automaton cold, but I mean sort of like they have some emotional distance from so much because they really want to see things in a very rational way, that people can think of them as being too cold, like they don't care about other human beings. But I think actually they care quite a bit. And in particular, they care what their reputation is. They want to make sure that they have a good, solid reputation so that other people will know how competent and capable they are. And I think that's really actually surprisingly important to them.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us on this quick riff on the ISTP personality, or accuracy sensation in the Genius System.